But as somebody who also lived in Texas for a year, it's the Mexicans in Texas is different. They're different than the ones. The California Chicano culture is unique compared to elsewhere for sure.
Explain. Get into that.
Everything. Like I remember the first time I saw a cholo in Texas. It was rare because the ones who I see in Texas, they don't look like, they don't dress, they don't present, they don't talk like how the Mexicans that I grew up with are, look, dress, talk, etc. It's totally different. So I remember when I said, I'm like, damn, look at that, man, an essay in Texas. I'm surprised. Because, you know, a lot of people, they like to take the term essay and blanket it. They don't even know what the hell an essay is. You see what I'm saying? I know what it is. So I know every Mexican is not an essay. I know that's a specific group of Mexicans, right? So, you know, and then I remember I was gone for a while from California. And I stayed at this hotel. And it was some guys working in the hotel. He was all face tatted. And I said, damn, man, I ain't seen an essay in a while, man. You know, it's good to see one. Because the ones who I encounter when I leave the West Coast, just completely different. The culture, everything about them, you know, they're more like Edgar, you know, more like the Edgar wave as opposed to like the Cholo wave, for sure.
Going back to the essay part, right? Like about 3 or 4 years ago, Peso Peso was calling himself the hardest essay ever. And the Cali fools were on his ass because they were like, bro, like you ain't no essay. Like
you a blood.
You don't even know the real definition.
Exactly.
Do you feel like that type of backlash was just?
For sure. Because you a blood. If you a Paru, you not no essay. Essay is a S. You know, people think, I don't know if people know what that just means, the letter S. Right? For the South Side. You're not a South Sider. So how are you the hardest South Sider and not a South Sider? And then some people say, well, that's just how we talk. Well, you might have to fix that because the essay means something very particular. You see what I'm saying? So that's something people got to educate themselves on because the blood ain't an essay. Never. Just because you're every Mexican is not an essay. And that's very ignorant of somebody to say, for sure.
Do you feel like that type of backlash was just then?
Yeah, for sure.
Because he came from a place of not being, like, he wasn't educated on that word.
Exactly.
But people in Texas would say, well, that's just how we talk, bro. That's just how we address another Mexican. You know?
Y'all got to fix that. Certain things got to be fixed because there's certain corrections that got to be made in certain slang and terminology. Because if it is coming from like a total misuse, bro, I mean, why say it? You know, why use that term? This means something. And then people, you're using a term of a group of people that are pretty serious, right, about certain things. You see what I'm saying? Who kind of don't play when it comes to certain shit. Who blood can be shed behind certain things when you're dealing. A lot of people don't know. They only seen essays on the TV and on YouTube and stuff like that. They seen a hood vlog or they seen a picture of somebody with some tattoos, but they never been in these situations. They never been in jail. They don't understand that the politics are serious and they're nothing to play with. So you could easily just say you're the hardest Mexican, and you would be in your right to say that because you are Mexican. You're not an essay though. You know, and that's a title and that's an identification that is associated with some serious shit, man. And if you're not a part of that, you shouldn't portray that.
Yeah, bro. Because I remember when that shit popped off.
That shit was viral on Full Community.
No, that shit went viral, bro. That shit went viral. And I remember a rapper out there out of Fort Worth, YTM Lil Vent.
Yeah, Lil Vent. Yeah.
He was on Peso Peso's ass because he was like, bro, you can't be calling yourself the hardest essay ever when you're not even a real Mexican. His whole thing was, you're not a real Mexican because you don't speak Spanish.
Bro, somebody tell you, puss ass white boy, Peso Peso, bitch, you is not the face of Mexican, nigga. This puss ass nigga gonna get a fucking chain with a motherfucking monkey. Bitch, we ain't no fucking monkeys, nigga. Fuck wrong with you, puss ass nigga. You nigga think this nigga wanna be Mexican so bad, nigga. Bitch, you not Mexican, nigga. You can't even speak in Spanish. I don't know no real Mexican that don't speak Spanish, nigga. Talking about TSF Mexico. Bitch, you never even been to Mexico, puss ass nigga. What part of Mexico you been to, puss ass nigga? Somebody tell this nigga to speak a whole sentence in Spanish. It nigga wanna be Mexican so bad. Sauce walk over there hyping this nigga up, bro. That's that nigga sugar daddy, nigga. That nigga bought them nigga them Chinese, all that shit, nigga. Bro, don't let this puss ass nigga fool you, fam. This puss ass nigga be like, he be like, I put on for the Mexicans in Mexico. Bitch, it's Mexicano, pendejo. Mexico. Habla bien, pinche ato meco a la erga.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, is that valid?
I don't think it's valid totally. I think that sometimes we go out our way to alienate ourselves from each other. Like we'll find any reason to invalidate one of our own selves. Like, oh, you don't speak Spanish, you're not a real Mexican.
From where do you think?
I think I think it comes from a lack of love there too. Right? So there's a law that God has, and he says, when you have a brother that's sojourning from somewhere else, he's traveling, he's on a journey from somewhere else, you treat him just like he's born where you're from, right? That's an act of love. Like a lot of Haitians, when Haitians first started coming to this country in major waves into like Miami, African Americans, Bahamians, Jamaicans, they wasn't treating us right. They was attacking us. They was saying all kind of negative things like that, simply because you're from somewhere else, right? So a lot of times we see that amongst our people where we look for any reason to invalidate somebody. And you should, instead of saying you're not a real Mexican because you don't speak Spanish, how about reaching, this is a fellow Texas brother, why don't reach out to him and help get him involved and more deeply ingrained in the culture if you feel like he's not involved in it. Like I seen what Lil Vent was saying, especially about like, hey, if you're a Mexican, like you need to know where your people come from, what state your people come from in Mexico, and be familiar with the history.
But
and
then again,
he's right. I agree. But go ahead.
Then again, if we're being factual, that's not technically our language, right?
Exactly.
Spanish, right?
Spanish is not our language anyway. So now we fighting over which oppressor language we speak better. Come on, fool. Like let's be real here. So in on one end, I feel them, but what I feel like, instead of using shit to talk shit and invalidate people, we need to use these opportunities to educate. Hey, bro, you need to really tap in with your roots and your Mexican heritage and culture and get more familiar with it. Like I remember the NFL player Tony Gonzalez. He was Mexican, but he didn't speak no Spanish, and they did a whole documentary about him spending the offseason, one of the offseasons in Mexico, learning, getting immersed in the culture and learning Spanish because he didn't know it. That's something you as a Mexican person, him as a Mexican person, Peso, he should be aiming to do. Right? Just so you're culturally aware. Like in being a Hebrew Israelite, we have an overarching ideology, but also I'm Haitian. But even in being Haitian, I grew up with predominantly Black Americans. And then when I moved to California, Black Americans and Mexican Americans. So I didn't grow up immersed in Haitian culture, but I take every opportunity to get further immersed as that I have. So I have whatever my family had, and then I had things that I gained through my own research or through going and immersing myself amongst Haitian Americans here in the States. So I think you should do that just so you have a strong sense of self.